Anyone that's listening right now that's going through a heartbreak or a similar situation, what do you have advice for them and how do you get over it?
It's actually very interesting, the masculine experience, because I like to believe that most men on the planet have lived a semi-similar timeline. Even me, Lord of Earth, Top G, the most interesting, compendious, smart, funny, tall, strong, and brilliant human to possibly ever live, has been through a very similar timeline to a worm like you. And it's quite an interesting thing. Yes, you are a worm. Be quiet. Listen. You're a worm! Shut up! It's very interesting that all of us as men experience a very similar human paradigm, and that is that most men are born and you're not important, and then you go to school and you fall in love with some girl in school and she fucks someone else, and then you realize that all the 19-year-olds you want when you're 19 are with older dudes because they have cars or whatever, and you go through this experience of getting your heart broken and losing your girlfriend, etc., and many men latch on to some average bitch or accept they're gonna have their heart broken forever, but some men decide to become so big and important and strong and irreplaceable that they never have to suffer heartbreak again. Because every man deals with heartbreak and deals with sadness, but how you use that energy is the differentiator between humans, right? You are feeling the same pain that many men have felt. I, as a man, every man out there has had his heart broken and understands how difficult it is as a man. We all know how hard it is to see the girl you love getting plowed. Men. Yeah, to getting plowed by someone else, like you have to deal with now. You can log into our OnlyFans and see it. But, wow. It's true. It's boy, girl, that's why she started the account. But the difference between me and you, and perhaps some of the other men out there, is that certain men take that anguish and take that sadness and understand that energy cannot be destroyed. It can only be converted and use it to build themselves into a man of absolute standing and power, as opposed to sitting around jerking off like you just told me you do. You are a waste. You are wasting your energy. Heartbreak is unlimited motivation. If I was heartbroken, it's been a very long time, but if I was heartbroken, I'd be in the gym every morning. I'd be a beast. I'd be running. I'd be working. I couldn't sleep. I'd be an absolute animal. And you're heartbroken, and what are you doing? Jerking off like a fucking dumbass.
You're right.
Of course I'm right. So I understand very, very well heartbreak. Every man does. This is what's so amazing about the masculine experience. Even the Top G and a worm have lived a very similar-ish timeline. The difference is, as a man, you must build yourself into a man of credibility, which means to build yourself into a man of standing, we all start in a fairly similar position. I became me through tedious, arduous, difficult, never-ending work. You are wasting your time. And by the time you finally realize I'm right, you're going to be too old for anyone to give a shit. Because at your age, how old are you again? 20-something?
22.
22. At 22, I could split the Earth's core. You should be so strong.
Stronger than all. I know. I've heard it before.
You're wasting your fucking life.
The biggest periods of transformation in my life is when everything was going wrong. When my life was going good, I'm not a hedonistic person. I don't do drugs. I don't gamble. I don't do prostitutes. I don't do anything that hedonistic. But I'll certainly go on the yacht with a bunch of women I know and chill and have some vodkas and that kind of thing. When life's smooth, then it's semi-hedonistic, pretty relaxed. But when I make my biggest progress, when I really change who I am and change the world, that's when everything's fucked. When things go wrong, or I'm feeling things I don't want to feel, or bad things are happening, that's when I'm like, okay, I currently cannot sleep. I've completed the day's tasks. I've tried to go to bed. I can't sleep. More shit has to get done. That's when the amazing things happen in my life. When I was heartbroken, everyone's been heartbroken. I can't remember a specific example. I hit the gym harder, right? If something goes wrong with your payment processor, that's when you get fucking inventive. That's business, right? That's when you get inventive. So all the bad things that happen to you as a man, if you're stoic, you get to take unlimited energy. Heartbreak is unlimited energy. So is depression. So is rage. So is sadness. All these negative emotions they tell you to collapse behind.
Over the years, was there a blue pill, Andrew, sort of back in the day? Like, oh my God.
Hey man, everyone's fallen in love with girls. Everyone's had their heart broken. Yes. Anyone who says they're not is fucking lying. I was definitely never blue pill. I was always realistic about the world. I was always understanding. One of my girlfriends, when I was about 23, she started dancing in this club, and I said, I don't want you dancing in the club. And she goes, well, I need money. Have you got any? And I didn't. So I was, it was
harder for me then. And I was like, oh, well, I don't want you dancing there. Anyway, and this is where I learned my move. I should have done the takeaway. Anyway, so I said to her then, I said, look, you either dance in the club or you're going to, you dance in the club and we split up, or you stay with me and you don't.
Yeah.
And even my brother said at the time, he goes, why are you being so extreme? I was like, there is no way on a long term, this girl who was a fucking 10, she was the head of a ballet school in Cambridge. I'll find a picture of her and show you. She was a 10. There's no way this 10 is going to go to the top London club 3-4 times a week, every night, drinking champagne with millionaires, while I sit here broke, and her love for me is going to stop her fucking one of them guys. On a long enough time scale, I'm going to lose. So now I either have to force my hand or thing. Anyway, she chose to go dance. So I did it. So whatever. I didn't back down. I stuck to my word. Only 2 weeks later, I saw her on David Hayes' Instagram. Now the point is this. If I was with her, would she have still gone in David Hayes' Ferrari? Of course she fucking would have. So at least I got to walk away with my honor.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, you know what, fuck you, bye.
Yeah.
So I'm still happy I made the right choice, as opposed to going, oh, maybe it'll be okay, baby. Okay, you just go to London and dance with all the millionaires, and I'll just sit here and work my job.
Yeah.
You know, so one of it is, even when I was blue pill, because I was upset about losing her, but I never fucking told her. I just, I kept my straight face. But I always kind of knew the rules to the game. And another thing is, I was lucky that I always had fighting, so I always had this higher purpose, so I could always distract myself.
Yeah.
So, I wouldn't let a girl get in my head, because I always had a fight to worry about. So it's like, all right, whatever.
I think that's got to be more important, hasn't it? The higher purpose over and above women.
Absolutely, because if you're going to let a woman fuck with your head and you're not going to train properly, then you can get your ass kicked.
Yes.
And that just makes everything worse. So fighting was the one thing that always kept me grounded, where no matter what happened with a girl, I had to go to the gym, I had to train, I had to prepare, I had to be mentally ready. So it always kept me, even in my early days, I was always red pill, because I was always like, okay, if you're going to be stupid, I've got to fight. So bye. Yeah. So I was always like that. People email me their long lists of all the bad things that happened to them, and I reply, fantastic. You are so lucky. You have all the building blocks to become the exact kind of man you want to be. If none of this shit happened to you, when something else bad happens to you later, you wouldn't be able to deal with it. Fantastic. And he goes, no, but this. He replied again with more excuses. Said, why are you making excuses? I just told you what happened to you is a good thing. You need to reframe your mind. Bad things happened to Batman. They killed his parents. Do you understand? That's why he's Batman. You've just told me you have the building blocks to become you might become top G when I retire. Fantastic. What are you complaining about? He goes, well, what do? I said, you need to work. Take all that trauma. If you're truly heartbroken, my friend, and we've all been there as men, if you're truly heartbroken, you can't sleep. That means you're going to get in fantastic shape. You better hit the gym. You have nothing else to do. Stop watching YouTube. Stop emailing me. I want pictures of you in the gym. Get to fucking work. Heartbreak's a fantastic motivator, as is depression, as is sadness. Great. Look at what's pissing you off and make sure it never happens again. If you were jacked and rich as fuck, she probably wouldn't have left your ass. So get your shit together. Right? So this is so important. Trauma is such an important part of being a man. And the Matrix talks of trying to say that trauma is terrible and avoid trauma, or if you get trauma, take a pill, and that's unrealistic. Trauma is going to happen to you, and you as a man need to internalize it, accept it, and weaponize it to become the best version of yourself you can be. And that requires mental strength and stoicism. It does not require, be more emotional. If you're more emotional, you're going to fall apart when shit happens. You're going to end up like Logan Paul, crying your eyes out on TV like a bitch.
Has your heart ever been broken?
Completely. Everybody's heart's been broken. Every single man, every single woman has been through a period where they wanted someone back who didn't want them. Difference between me and everyone else is I never let my pride or my dignity go out the window for it. That's the big problem with a lot of this heartbreak stuff. It's not that you're feeling heartbroken is bad. That's natural part of the human experience. You just can't sacrifice your dignity for it.
Emotions are feedback. The idea that men don't feel emotions is incorrect. We feel emotions. I would actually argue we feel emotions with certain emotions stronger than women. I would argue that we feel heartbreak stronger than women. I would argue we feel anger like a woman could never understand. I would argue we are extremely emotional. Rage, pure rage. But it's feedback. So when you get the feedback, it's all about how you internalize it and how you process it, right? It's having stoicism's not feeling emotions. It's feeling the emotion and going, okay, why is this happening? How much does this really matter? What's the most intelligent move on the chessboard? I'm not even that good at chess, right? My father was a grandmaster. I'm like 1800 ELO. I'm okay. I was a child chess prodigy, but I stopped playing chess professionally when I was like 8. So I'm as good now as I was. In fact, I'm worse now than when I was 8, because I've never taken any lessons or anything properly since, because my mother and father broke up. We moved to England. My dad stayed in America. Lost my chess coach, and England didn't have a chess infrastructure. America had a chess infrastructure in the lower income schools. My dad used to go to the ghetto schools because he was black. Go to the black schools and teach them how to play chess. So we had a big infrastructure.
So you peaked at 8.
I peaked at 8, yeah. But chess is a fantastic game, because in the game of chess, There's no luck. If you lose, no matter how well you played, if you lose, at some point you made a mistake. Even if it's the most minor mistake, you made a mistake. So you learn to understand that no matter what happens to you, if you lose a scenario, you made a mistake. Maybe it's a tiny one. Maybe it was 2 years ago, whatever, but you made a mistake, and you learn absolute and utter accountability for yourself. And that mentality is extremely powerful to apply to all things in life. The position I'm in now as the most hated man in the world, although I agree and I truly believe it's unfair, I still take complete responsibility for. I'm not going to sit here and say, I'm telling you why it happened when I talk about TikTok and YouTube shorts, but I'm not going to blame them. Absolutely. They're a company making money and they're monetizing the best they can. Fantastic. All of this is my fault. But the Bugatti on my drive is my fault. And the yacht is my fault. And the private jet's my fault. So it's all my fault. So I take the good with the bad. I take all responsibility for absolutely everything, including if a woman leaves me, if a woman stays, if I end up heartbroken, if I end up filled with rage, I take responsibility for that. If something happens to me that makes me enraged, I will take responsibility. Why has this happened to me? Why do I feel this way? How did I end up in this position? Is this healthy in this scenario? And sometimes it is. I've had scenarios in my life where I was prepared to die to protect somebody else, and I was enraged, and it was healthy. I've also had times where I'm in a room by myself, enraged, sitting there going, this is no good for anybody. I need to just calm the fuck down. Mm-hmm. So emotions are feedback, but stoicism is the ability to process them. And that's what you need to be learn as a man. You're never going to be able to turn them off. You're going to feel them. You have to learn how to process them and turn them into a positive. It's energy. It's unlimited energy.